G'day viewers. Had a call from my daughter the other day saying her window on her car's blown up, so we're on our way to check it out. Stick around. Well, if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. I hope I can teach you something. You like what you see and consider subscribing. Now, regular viewers would recognise this as my daughter's 2012 Holden Cruise, not to be confused with the Chevy Cruise. Similar, but completely different. Anyhow, she called me saying she put a window down to about here, and then when she went to put it back up, it sort of went... I went down when it's supposed to be going up. That's no bueno, so we've got to figure out why. I have a couple of ideas, but let's get into the door and find out exactly what's going on. Now, before we go anywhere, I've already established this is not an electrical issue. How I know that, we've got the ignition on. If we listen closely, so the motor's turning. My guess is that the cable which runs on the mechanism has derailed itself. So, as I said, the first thing we need to do is get the door trim off. Now, I've never removed this particular door trim, nor a trim of this model, so we're both going to be learning together. But usually, there's either screws or clips that hold the bottom end around, but we're not going to get into that yet. First thing that needs to come off is this little mirror guard, and then usually hidden somewhere around here is a couple of screws that connect it to the door. So, first thing, this usually just has push-in clips. There we go. One push-in clip down there, one there. That's off, we'll sort that out later. Now we need to start looking for screws. Little pad in the handle, there's a screw right there. That is a T15 Torx screw. Alright, that's out. What's that going to do for us? And then in here, you see that little cutout up there? Right there. I'm going to get to that with a flat screwdriver because it's all I have available. I actually have the correct tool for this at home, but that's at home. But look at that, there's another screw. Okay, that's released, that's released. Let's pop it off and see how far we get. Whoops. Pretty sure I just broke it. Don't know why, but we'll figure that out once we get it off. There we go. That's free. Then we just pull it off. Now don't pull it straight away because there's all sorts behind here. Electrical cables. And here we have the cable for the door release. Need to unclip it at the front here. There we go. Pull it back. And that comes out. There's a little ball in the end. There we go. That's released. This plug here, which is this one here, has this little blue locking tab in it. That sits in there like that. You just need to pull that out. doing this one-handed, so it's not easy. But that comes out. There we go, it has two little tabs on the side that lock it in. Pull that out, and then you can push that release down. Don't lose that. Let's keep going. Well, that's not a good sign for a start. Okay, let's get these two screws out. We can get that plastic right off and we can see what's going on. Okay. That's not a great sign either. Yeah. That was just resting in the bottom of the door. That is the window guide. That sits on the tray and that sits in the window itself. There's two of those, but let's get these three 10mm screws and that'll release the whole mechanism. Oh, there's another piece. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was. It's just the whole mechanism's come apart, so we're going to have to put it all back together. But first, we need to get the window out. As you can see, it's just sliding by itself. And in there is the other guide. It has a 10mm nut on it. We need to release that so that it can release the window, and we take the glass out. Then we can get the mechanism out. Now usually with these, if you go up or down to a certain point, you can access that bolt with a socket, but because this ain't going up and down really well, I'm just going to have to get in there, in through here with a spanner. Let's see how that goes. There we go, that's released. Now this glass should just slide out. There we go. And you can see the witness mark here, well, where this should be. That should be in there. We'll get to that, but got a long way to go before we can get that back on. Put the glass aside somewhere safe. Let's get a 10mm socket. Two bolts out. The third one has a relief in it, so we can just do that. And this whole mechanism should come out. Or not. No, we need to take re-roll it, the rear guide out as well. Comes out. Okay, now we just fix this out here. Okay. There it is. Right. And there is our complete window mechanism. But it shouldn't look like that. There's pieces missing. So now we have to put all that back together. Now keep in mind, this is a Holden Cruise. So if you don't have a Holden Cruise, it's not going to be exactly the same. However, it is going to be very similar. All window mechanisms have a rear and a front guide track, and they have a mechanism. And most come out the same way. They're either bolted, like this was, or it has big rivets with a big head on it, like a 1/4 inch rivet with nearly a 3/4 inch head on it, which you have to drill out. Fortunately, I'm so happy I didn't have to drill rivets out. It's all bolted in. That made life a lot easier, because trying to find the rivets, yeah, well, have fun with that. That whirly bird up in the ceiling is making a lot of noise. Let's see if we can ignore that. Anyway, let's have a look and see what we can find in here. So now we need to figure out this jigsaw puzzle and find out what went wrong. See, this cable here is supposed to go down around here, but I'm looking in here at the mechanism. That cable's not right. The cable's derailed. So the next move is to pull these 3 screws off, get that track off, and get that back to how it should be. That just slides out of there, and well, there's our cable. There was our cable. Right. That's obviously jammed itself in there with the cable. And that's fixed into that, so we're not going to get that out in a big hurry. So what we need to do is get the cable back in there so it's winding true. Winding true, well, that's up for debate as to how that... This may cause an issue because that's bent, and once these things are bent, they're bent. It's still usable, but it's debatable how long it will last. First thing we need to do is get this tab just back just a little bit. That's what all around here and this point here is what retains the cable on this roller. So we need to carefully move that back without damaging the roller, so we can get cables in there and rethread that cable. This is going to be fun. Trick is obviously to unwind one cable, find the direction of rotation, because this is like a thread. These grooves are like a thread. You need to figure out which way it's supposed to go. I'm pretty sure that it's meant to go that way, because you see there's a groove right down the bottom there. There's a groove right there, but on the other side there's no groove. Not sure whether you can see that or it's picking up or what, but anywho, that rolls that way. So we need to roll this until we've got rid of all this cable. Now that roll is a little bit mangled, so we may or may not be successful with this. we may need to just replace it, but I'm going to solder on and see how far we can go. Yes, I could just go and buy a new mechanism, but where's the fun in that? Okay, now this little block goes in here as a retainer. That goes on there, cable goes in there, like that, and you see it's spring loaded, so we can pull that up. Now the tough part is holding that in place while we get the other side in, because there is a whole other cable to go in. That one comes in from the top here and it winds around the other way. So that goes in there. There it goes. And then we need to wind this back the other way. There it goes. Getting through here is going to be an issue. There it goes. So basically, by the time you're finished, that roller, that drum should be full. But you can see there's lots of slack here. That's because, well, this end has to go back somewhere. So we'll put that back in there. Now that should be stable enough where it will stay. That may be too much. Not sure yet. We'll have to figure that out once we get the rest of the mechanism in place. But that's there. Okay. Now over here there's a cable. That goes onto there like that. And that goes over to this. Like that. And then down onto this bottom roller down here, which you probably can't see. Or it goes around it, one of the two. No, wait. Doesn't go in there. Well, it has to. It was in there. Oh, I see what's going on. Yeah, that goes in there. But this is upside down. So this cable goes into here. I'm just going to flip it back over for now, because the way this works is this is a joiner. That goes around there. That goes in there. And then this is meant to join these two together, but obviously there's something missing, and well, yeah, there is, because this has to come out. And I'm going to flip that over now, carefully, without undoing that off the rollers. And I think that just happened. But this goes into here. The cable goes around there. And this cable comes up here. And if we look at this piece, and then look at this piece, that's broken. That's meant to join. Where is it? On like that. And obviously they're opposites. But this piece is broken, and I'd say that is what caused our failure. Because that joins the two cables together on one side, that joins the two cables together on the other side. There's our problem. And of course you can't just buy that, you have to buy the whole mechanism, which is like $300 or some stupid amount. So, that needs some super glue work, I think. Super glue should work, because, well, it doesn't move this way or this way, it moves that way as an entire unit. As for white broke, beige, where, who knows. Okay, well I had to come home to repair the other guide, so we're here. I thought I'll throw this all back together while I'm here. I have all the right tools I need and everything else. But if we have a look down here, there's one end, there's the other. They're a bit far apart. That tells me that and we already know this, but there's too much material on this runner. We know that because, well, they're binding together. So we're going to leave that one, and we're going to take one revolution out of this one. Come on, go back through. There we go. And come on. It's not going to play with me. There we go. Now we can pull that through. Where's the other end of that? It's right down here. There it is. Pull that through. Put that back into place. And if we do that, well, we're still short. They're supposed to cross over. So I'll try and take one more revolution off. Let's see what that does. Through there. Pull that through. Hold these two together for now. Flip it all back over. And now, well, they're crossed over too much. So So something clearly has gone wrong. I just need to figure out what that is. I'm pretty sure it's all the right way, because if we pull that up, the other one goes up. Hang on, I'll back you off so you can see this. If we pull this cable down, you'll see the guide on the other side will also go down. Alright, here we go. Pulling this one down while keeping tension on it at the same time. That one goes down. That's all good. That's doing exactly what it should. But as I said, we have a little bit too much crossover here. That should not cross over that much, so that tells me I took off one revolution too much. Back in here. We have to remember there's a lot of slack in here as well. Into there. Come on, go in. No. Mounting in. That's not in. Go in, there we go. They're close. But because I don't have that joiner at the moment, see, once I put a lot of tension on there, that's going to be good. But in the meantime, just to keep everything intact, wrap that around there, tight. Okay, that's not going to come off there now, but it's around the wrong way. So put that back through there like that. Tighten that down. I'm going to do the same on the other end. Need to put a loop about there. Let me just get my pliers. I'm going to put a loop there. It's getting dark out here. There we go, that's better. Sorry about the glare, but there's light. Cut that off about there. I'm going to put a loop about there. And that's just a matter of twist. Come on. There we go. I'll put that in there. Of course, it's just too tight. There we go. Okay, now there's spring tension on everything, which means that's going to keep it all in place. Whether that's the right way round or not, I don't know. I'll have to... Well, it kind of looks right, but it at the same time it doesn't. I know that sits like about there. So you would think that'd be sort of right, maybe. I don't know. Let's give that a full twist. So that sits underneath. Does that make sense? Because we've got this thing here. That'll sit behind there. Then the motor mechanism sits on there. And that looks good. Now I'm just going to move this up and down a few times. That will put everything back where it's supposed to be. And if we go back over here now, notice we've lost a bit of spring tension there because everything's running back true where it should be. So theoretically, bring that back up. I could now tighten that up. And it's getting closer to where it needs to be. But we'll do that tomorrow once the glue's dry. I didn't end up using super glue because I thought, well, super glue is rather brittle, it'll break really easy. Epoxy, it's got a better chance of lasting, well, a little while anyway. How long? Who knows? But that's the beauty of cars. If you're going to fix something like this, you have to expect sooner or later it is going to break again. But that length of time is crystal ball. You never know how long it's going to last. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the night. I'll see you in the morning. Well, it's the next day, and in typical Warwick fashion, it's extremely windy, so please excuse any or all wind noise. And also, something weird's happening every now and then. Liquid falls from the sky. I don't know what it is. I think some people call it rain. I don't know. Don't get that around here often. Anyway, let's drag this reg out and finish putting it back together. Alright, here's our regulator. There's our repaired guide. And I put the motor back on last night just to keep it safe, basically. But we may have to take that back off. I don't know yet. But I also realised that I didn't show you how these go in. So that's alright, because I need to take this one off because I don't want to overstress this one, the one I've just repaired. So basically, take that off, put another link on this to keep those two together, put that one on so there's no stress on it, and then we'll put this one back on. So remove that, just roll that off the track, and if you kind of flip it, there's one cable out, there's the other. Put this link on so that we don't lose the ends. Go in, yep, in there. There we go, that'll hold that. Twist around, take this one link off. There we go. Now, you notice they cross over. So basically this one has to go in this end, and then this one goes in that end. There we go, they're locked in, but it's upside down. So let me show you that again. That one has to go in there. That one pull against the spring tension. No, this one's stuck. There we go. Right. Oh, that's why. There we go. Come off the runner down here. There we go. Now that one will go in there. And then we just roll that onto the track. Sounds good. Let's put this one back on. Now this is probably going to be a little bit difficult because the cable on that roller drum, it's still all bent and twisted. So we may not have enough full length to cross them over and get them onto this. Let's see how we go. Secret is to get everything in place except one of the sliders, and then you can position it so you can feed them in, and as you twist it, it just locks in. Then you just slide it onto the track. Done! Nothing's impossible. Okay, let's throw this motor back on and take it over and put it back in the car. Before it goes in, let's not forget to put this tab back where it was. Before we go putting everything else back together and hoping for the best, always test it. So oh wait, I need keys. Keys, let's try that again. That looks good to me. Okay, take that back off. Pull that, 'cause that's annoying. Let's keep going. Next thing to do, put glass in. Now remember I mentioned usually there's a place where you can get at these 10mm nuts on the sliders. yeah, it's right there. So I'm just going to slide this down so it kind of sits in the guides, on the guides. There we go. Loosen this one off here because I can get to it. That way the window will slide into it. But then we need the door trim again. Plug it in. Ignition on. Just want to bring it up just so that is up here. Almost there. There it is. Get that out of the way for now. That's sitting down in the saddle. I'll show you. See if I can show you in there. There we go. See the glass is sitting down in that saddle. That's how you need it. Check the front one. Yep, that's good. Alright, let's tighten them up. Don't over tighten them. Well, you don't want to break the glass. Just a little bit of pressure on them. Just enough to hold it. Door trim again. Plug it back in. Make sure our window goes up and down. Beautiful! Now that everything's working as it should, all the mechanism's tight in there, everything's wired up, now it's just a matter of put everything back together and reverse all of it, took it apart. To make sure everything works. Lock. That works. Unlock. Unlock. There we go. That works. thing. Can you guess? Done. Yeah, the window's still down because I'm going to just leave it down to see how my daughter's reaction. But that is that. Total time that took me was probably somewhere around 3-4 hours in total. That includes stripping down the door, taking the thing out, putting it all back together and rebuilding it in the meantime. Does not include obviously glue drying time. Well, given how common an issue this is, I'm sure someone will get something out of this. As I said, the whole job, apart from drying time, the whole job took like 3 or 4 hours. An overnight job. I didn't start this till about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It's not even 4 o'clock today, and I didn't start it today until 2. So, total of about 4 hours. So why would a shop not repair and just say, oh, it's broken, it needs to be replaced? Because shops usually charge about $100 an hour minimum. Now, if the regulator's $150 for a used item, a good used item, it's not worth their time to spend the time to repair the broken one. They just get another used one and throw it in. There you go. They're still going to bill you 3 hours because they're going to charge the price of the unit itself. That wind is really strong. I can feel it in here. Anywho, that's it. I hope someone got something out of that. Hope you liked what you saw. Hope you learnt something. If you did, hit that like button down below. And right next to that, the subscribe button. Go ahead and smash on that. That really helps me out a lot. And don't forget the notification bell. That way, you know when the next one's coming. And I'll see you on the next one.